Hey, Kyle. Hey, everybody. We're gonna get started here in a minute, just giving some folks a chance to get it settled. Thanks for the follow, War Corgi. Oh, hey, Sote. I just realized that's how your name's pronounced. So sorry. I'm just being, Canadian about it. Hi. I missed the end of Kyle's stream. What happened? What happened? Hey, Pippa, no. Mimi's here again. He's visiting on my lap. Everybody send her good vibes. She's feeling kind of sick today, aren't you? Eh? She's got some tummy trouble. Which is her own fault because she ate a bunch of tissues out of my office trash yesterday, but you know. Dogs doing dog stuff. How's everyone feeling after Sunday's reading? I'm still like reeling. Oh. Hey, work cookie! Great vibes is good. Yeah, last week was the last. I keep saying last week every time I refer to the previous one because I forget that it's multiple times a week. My brain just like, you know. But yeah, it was just like, it was a lot. Like I mentioned in the Discord that I had to like go lay down after I was done. Like I was just a little bit crying. I was sad. Still thinking about it, but here's the thing, right? So afterwards, over the last couple of days, because I've been trying to put some sort of like regular amount of posting together or something, I was looking for some like fan art or something that like hopefully wouldn't have any spoilers in it, and like everything was from that stuff. Like I wasn't even like, I just Googled like a quart of thorns and roses in Google and looked up images, and it was like all the art was Rasand and Feyre, like because I guess they're like the big ship, and her in the skimpy dress, and I was like, no, like I'm all for skimpy dress, but like only if she wants to wear it, right? Which she didn't, and so therefore not cool. And I was not, just not having it. Just not having it. So yeah, I was sitting there looking at all the art, and I was like, "What's up with you guys?" Yeah, yes, Queen, you did miss a lot. Yes, that's right, Pippa. No, consensual skimpy dress only. Like just before, I was telling my partner because he asked like what happened last stream, because I told him like last time was a lot because he wasn't home, and I was like, well, I told him everything that happened, and I'll tell the Yes Queen right now as well, and just a little review for everybody. So last stream, so Feyre returned to her cell after fighting the shitworm. It's not a sandworm, it's a shitworm. After doing that, and her arm was broken so bad that like the bone was sticking out, and she was gonna die. And so then Rasand, who is the High Lord of the Night Court, bad guy, but they keep talking about how sexy he is, and I don't care because he's bad. He's a bad man. You can be sexy, but you're a bad man. He comes down and he like tells her he'll heal her and make her all better, but she has to make a deal with him. Essentially, they bargain and they come to the decision that she's going to spend 1 week out of every month living with him at the Night Court. That's what he wants. And I don't remember if there were any other like agreements within that agreement, but there was that. That's the big one. Because essentially he just wants to upset Tamlin. He just wants to make him mad. So he's doing that to upset him. Yes, also that tattoo. So in order to show that it's binding, when he heals her, the arm that was broken, there's like a big black, like floral spirally tattoo all up and down her arm with a big eye right in the center of her hand. that she suspects is enchanted in some way. But we have not had that confirmed yet. I mean, the tattoo is magical, obviously, but like we don't know if it is doing anything right now. So then she gets a few like impossible chores that. Right, War Corgi, she gets a badman period. I think even while we were doing the reading, I like just stopped for a second and I yelled that I hope that he gets her when she's on her period. Just like so, and hopefully it's not bad for her. It's just annoying for him. That's what I want. Like he has to deal with like when she's all crampy and uncomfortable and wants to just be messy and, you know, all of that. And he just has to deal with her when she's like that. And then she can go and have like the rest of her month hanging out with Tamlin, who she actually likes, and not have it affect her. So anyway, yeah, so she has to go there and do that. And yeah, so she gets some impossible chores. They're fucking with her. They're messing with her. There was some other stuff that happened off and on in there that you can go back and you can listen to last week to get the details on. I'm sure it'll be important later. But the thing we're real mad about is that then she has a couple of interactions with Rasand again during this chore thing. And essentially somewhere in there, he decides that he is fully within his right, which he is not, to have some of his creepy ghost servant people take her out of her cell without talking to her about what's going on, take her up to another room, strip her naked, paint her whole damn body with swirly symbols and stuff that match her tattoos, so she's covered in this fucking paint. And it's enchanted paint. We'll get to that in a second. And then putting her in the skimpiest dress possible. It's just like 2 strips of fabric that basically like they're sheer and they cover her boobs and her bits. And that's it. With like a sexy belt on it to hold it together. And it's just like the skimpiest thing you can put her in. They put her like in a fancy tiara and whatever. That's like so heavy she can keep her head up straight. I don't know what that's about. So yeah, he does that. And then, so not only does he dress her up like that, but then he takes her to a party in the throne room with everybody who's there in the like creepy under the mountain place with the evil queen lady, and Tamlin's right there trying to not give away any of his feelings or any of his thoughts so that they can't use them against him. He's there. He has to just be there for it and can't do anything. Everyone's there looking at her, and she has to walk in there, and he just thinks he's like in the clear to do this, which is not cool. He then proceeds to give her fairy wine, which is not like the wine that she had at the summer festival thingy that made her like happy and bubbly and like she can remember all of it. She was just happy. It was like it's like this bad wine that makes her like black out essentially and be completely like submissive to anything he wants. So the paint is magical in that when she moves and if she touches it, nothing happens. It doesn't get messed up, but if anybody else touches her anywhere, it gets all smudged so that Rasan will know if anyone touches her. And like, I thought that it was implied that like if he touched it, nothing would happen, but I guess if he touches her, it smushes too, and that's okay though. He doesn't care. He's like, I'll remember where I put my hands. They should be nowhere near her, sir. But okay. So he puts his hands on her, definitely during this thing. But it's made clear that it was like just on her waist and on her arms. That's where he touched her. Yeah, this ownership power play thing, which I do not like. Because she doesn't want any of this, and she makes it very clear that she's not into it. And she's like, this is not cool. But he does it anyway. So he's a bad man. And he proceeds to do this. So while she's blacked out and whatever, he's having her dance. Like sexy dance in front of everybody and like on him and stuff. so that Tamlin needs to watch her do that. And I'm like, dude. And she's like, basically, she's naked. She's basically naked. Like, in some ways it's worse because, like, speaking as somebody who knows, when you're, what you don't show is kind of the sexy part. You know what I mean? Like, and so when I was telling my partner this is what he said. He said, isn't that just what you do? You just go there and you dance in front of people, like, almost naked? I was like, but I choose to do that, and that's the difference. Because I'm fully sober when I'm doing it, 99% of the time. I'm doing it on purpose. And it's empowering for me. For her, it's debasing. She even says that in the book. She says that it's hard for her to know that Tamlin has to see her debased like that. And so he proceeds to do this every night, and she loses count of how long it's going on. Like, it goes on for a while. To the point where, like, it happens every day, and she just doesn't even know. And she gets really sick the next day, too. Like, the wine makes her super sick, so she spends her whole day, like, recovering from this shitty thing that's happening to her. And then she has to go and do it again. Like, I was so mad. And, like, in the way it was written just made me so upset. Oh. So, like, I cried. It was bad. So this is why I'm so angry, because you can also tell in the way that it's written that, like, the author is going to try to make us like this guy. Like, and clearly people do, because like I said, all the fan art that I saw was of them together. And, like, of course it's fan art, so, like, I don't know if it's like, does that happen? Or is that just like people ship it? Which they shouldn't anyway. Because no matter how sexy you are, if you do something like that to somebody, as I said before, think you're irredeemable. Because that's real terrible. So yeah, I don't want to like him. I expect you all to hold me to that. I don't want to like this guy. And I'm mad. So yeah. And I think, and yeah. And so then our reading ended last time when she was just about to go for her second task. So that's where we're at. And we don't know what the second task is yet. And she's still trying to work out this riddle, but of course she's sick the whole fucking time, so she can't even think about it. Yeah, I hope that guy gets got. Like, I hope it's not like he does something so wonderful later and it's all fine. Or like, he was only doing it because he loved her. And it's like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. So there's no way around this. This is way worse. Way worse than Jacob kissing Bella without her consent. Way worse than that. And I'm gonna say it. Worse than him imprinting on Renesmee, which is bad also. Because that's almost pedophilia and terrible, and this is worse. No redemption arc for him. I do not allow it. Yeah, yes, Queen, no. Oh, he was protecting her in a weird way. No. Cause he is. That's the thing, right? Yeah, Twilight gasp, Pippa, no. I'm just gonna say it. No, but like, that's the thing. Like, I can already see it. And I bet at some point somebody's gonna say something like, oh, if he hadn't stepped in, then, yeah, Jacob is definitely grooming Renesmee. For sure. Yeah, because, like, he's just protecting you from Amarantha, because if he hadn't had her do the party thing, then she was going to do something else to you, or whatever. I don't know. Like, you're going to make something up. And it's not good, and it's not enough, and I don't care. Could have done it a better way. That was not the way. This is not the way. So yeah. Here. Yeah, 7:30. Okay, yeah. So I think we can get started in chapter 40. That catches those that were not here on Sunday up. But always remember that we always stream Sunday at 3, and Wednesdays at 7, give or take. I try to post everywhere when I go live, but the best way to make sure that you don't miss any of it is to follow me and have your notifications turned on so you know when I'm going live. Because I do also, before we get started, I do also do the Saturday stream where we do our Saturday slumber party, where we'll watch bad movies from the terrible wheel that I've made, that I still have not named. You can still name the wheel. If you come up with a good enough one, I will name the wheel, whatever you suggest, with all the bad public domain movies that I was able to aggregate into a wheel. So we usually watch something from that. We hang out. The past few streams, I've done a makeup look off the top, but that's more just because I'm lazy. Right, Pippin of the Space movie was bananas. I'm still finishing that pizza, by the way. My partner and I both ordered pizza because we didn't know the other one had done it already. And so we still got pizza, but we're almost done. But yeah, so Saturdays, tons of fun. They're longer streams. So we hang out all Saturday night, except for this Saturday. So this Saturday, I am not able to stream because I'm going to go see Batman. And I am going to go. And we're going to the VIP theater where you can drink. And they have like a full menu and they serve you in your seat. And so I'm definitely going to get drunk and have fancy dinner and just be thirsty for Batman all night on Saturday night. So I will miss all of you and I will miss doing that stream. But Batman calls. So I have to do that. I don't remember if I've told this story on the stream before, but it deeply affected me. I try to not be that person who's like, oh my God, I had this dream, but I did have this dream. Because it was just bananas. It was so weird, where I was best friends with Batman. This was not that long ago. This was like a couple weeks ago. I had a dream where I was best friends with Batman. But specifically Robert Pattinson Batman. And the dream would switch between whether or not I was best friends with Robert Pattinson or if I was best friends with Batman. And it was like a will they won't they thing in the dream. So even in my dream, I can't actually have him. But I can be flirty with him in the dream. And there's potential there in the dream. Well, I was best friends with Batman. And that would be fun. I'm so fucking weird. Why are you licking me? Why are you licking me? Don't do that. So yeah, so not this Saturday, but I'm considering making some other time. So I might make it up to you guys with a different stream at a different time, but I haven't found the right place in a schedule yet. So right now, expect Sunday at 3. That's guaranteed. Nothing is changing with that. And we will keep reading. And we've got tonight. So, without further ado, we will get started here. Let's just update our chapter tracker. Because we are on chapter 40 of 46. So there is a chance, depending on how long these upcoming chapters are, that we will finish this book by Sunday. We may finish this book on Sunday. What's this? There's just this random stream element. I don't think you guys can see it, but I can see it just floating around on my screen. That's weird. Well, whatever it is, it can go live down at the bottom of the screen. And if I get an alert there, I get an alert there. Cool. But yeah, so if you're not following, please give me a follow. I am I'm so close to the 50 I need to be affiliate. I am two fucking people away. I've been trying so damn hard. I am loved by a very niche and specific community. And not all of them know how to use the computer. So So that's where we are. That's cool. We are going to read chapter 40. I still have exhaustion brain, so that's why I'm being extra spicy right now. And let me know if the music is unbearable, because it sounds okay to me coming out of the little headphoney speakery thing. But yes, Queen. Yeah, see, you call people out. Sometimes you lose a follower. I have to stop smiling on the side of my face because I think I'm getting TMJ. It's loosening up now, but all day I've been like, and not for fun reasons. Not for the fun reasons sometimes people get TMJ. This is just from stress. Sitting at my desk all day just going, because I don't want to be there. Okay, chapter 40. Actually, I'm going to change the music for this. What's this one? Yeah, you just want something sort of more low-key. The task could be very action-packed, as we know, but it could also not be. In which case, this is better, and this is better for reading. So. Oh, this all has lyrics in it. Nobody wants that. You guys might want that. I don't want that. How about this one? This is dreamy emo lo-fi. That sounds like something I would be into. It's exactly correct. Okay. Chapter 40. My second task arrived. Its teeth gleaming, the Ator grinned at me as I stood before Amarantha. Another cavern, smaller than the throne room, but large enough to perhaps be some sort of old entertaining space. The community rec center? It had no decorations, save for its gilded walls, and no furniture. The queen herself only sat on a carved wooden chair, Tamlin standing behind her. Yeah, this sounds like the Polish Hall. I don't know if you ever had to go there, yes, Queen, for any of our school events, but they would occasionally rent the Polish Hall. I didn't gaze too long at the Ator, who lingered on the other side of the queen's chair, its long, slender tail slashing across the floor. It only smiled to unnerve me. It was working. Not even gazing at Tamlin could calm me. I clenched my hands at my sides as Amarantha smiled. Well, Feyre, your second trial has come. She sounded so smug, so certain that my death hovered nearby. I'd been a fool to refuse death in the teeth of the worm. She crossed her arms and propped her chin on a hand. Within the ring, Durian's eye turned to face me, its pupil dilating in the dim light. Have you solved my riddle yet? I didn't deign to make a response. Too bad, she said with a moo. But I'm feeling generous tonight. The Ator chuckled, and several fairies behind me gave hissing laughs that snaked their way up my spine. How about a little practice? Amarantha said, and I forced my face into neutrality. If Tamlin was playing indifferent to keep us both safe, so would I. But I dared a glance at my High Lord and found his eyes hard upon me. If I could just hold him, feel his skin for just a moment, smell him, hear him say my name. A slight hiss echoed across the room, dragging my gaze away. Amarantha was frowning up at Tamlin from her seat. I hadn't realized we'd been staring at each other, the cavern wholly silent. Hey, Kadrisha. Begin, Amarantha snapped. Before I could brace myself, the floor shuddered. My knees wobbled, and I swung my arms to keep upright as the stones beneath me began sinking, lowering me into a large rectangular pit. Some fairies cackled, but I found Tamlin's stare again and held it until I was lowered so far down that his face disappeared beyond the edge. I scanned the 4 walls around me, looking for a door, for any sign of what was to come. 3 of the walls were made of a single sheet of smooth, shining stone, too polished and flat to climb. The other wall wasn't a wall at all, but an iron grate splitting the chamber in 2. And through it, my breath caught in my throat. Lucian. Lucian lay chained to the center of the floor on the other side of the chamber. His remaining russet eye so wide that it was surrounded with white. The metal one spun as if set wild. His brutal scar was stark against his pale skin. Again, he was to be Amarantha's toy to torment. There were no doors, no way for me to get to his side except to climb over the gate between us. It had such thick, wide holes that I could probably climb it to jump onto his side. I didn't dare. The fairies began murmuring, and gold clinked. Had Rasan bet on me again? In the crowd, red hair gleamed. 4 heads of red hair, and I stiffened my spine. I knew his brothers would be smiling at Lucian's predicament. But where was his mother? His father? Surely the High Lord of the Autumn Court would be present. I scanned the crowd. No sign of them. Only Amarantha, standing with Tamlin at the edge of the pit, peering in. She bowed her head to me and gestured with an elegant hand to the wall beneath her feet. Here, Feyre, darling, you shall find your task. Simply answer the question by selecting the correct lever, and you'll win. Select the wrong one, to your doom. As there are only 3 options, I think I gave you an unfair advantage. She snapped her fingers, and something metallic groaned. That is, she added, if you can solve the puzzle in time. Not too high above, the 2 giant, spike-encrusted grates I dismissed as chandeliers began lowering, slowly descending toward the chamber. I whirled to Lucian. That was the reason for the gate cleaving the chamber in 2. So I would have to watch as he splattered beneath, just as I myself was squashed. The spikes, which had been supporting candles and torches, glowed red, and even from a distance I could see the heat rippling off them. Lucian wrenched his chains. This would not be a clean death. And then I turned to the wall that Amarantha had gestured to. A lengthy inscription was carved into its smooth surface, and beneath it were 3 stone levers with the numbers 1, 2, and 3 engraved above them. I began to shake. I recognized only basic words, useless ones like the and but and went. Everything else was a blur of letters I didn't know. Letters I'd have to slowly sound out or research to understand. This is just a brief reminder that Feyre is illiterate. So unfortunately, basically impossible, this task. The spiked grate was still descending, now level with Amarantha's head, and would soon shut off any chance I stood of getting out of this pit. The heat from the glowing iron already smothered me, sweat starting to bead at my temples. Who had told her I couldn't read? Something wrong? She raised an eyebrow. I snapped my attention to the inscription, keeping my breathing as steady as I could. She hadn't mentioned reading as an issue. She would have mocked me more if she'd known about my illiteracy. Fate. A cruel, vicious twist of fate. The chains rattled and strained, and Lucian cursed as he beheld what was before me. I turned to him, but when I saw his face, I knew he was too far to be able to read it aloud to me, even with his enhanced middle eye. If I could hear the question, I might stand a chance at solving it, but riddles weren't my strong point, as we well know. I was going to be skewered by burning hot spikes and then crushed on the ground like a grape. The grate now passed over the lip of the pit, filling it entirely. No corner was safe. If I didn't answer the question before the grate passed the levers, my throat closed up. And I read and read and read, but no words came. The air became thick and stank of metal. Not magic, but burning, unforgiving steel creeping toward me, inch by inch. "Answer it!" Lucian shouted, his voice hitched. My eyes stung. The world was just a blur of letters mocking me with their turns and shapes. The metal groaned as it scraped against the smooth stone of the chamber, and the fairy's whispers grew more frenzied. Through the holes in the grate, I thought I saw Lucian's eldest brother chuckle. Hot. So unbearably hot. It would hurt. Those spikes were large and blunt. It wouldn't be quick. It would take some force to pierce through my body. Sweat slid down my neck, my back. Come on, girl, not right now. Not my neck, my back right now. Keep it together. As I stared at the letters, at the 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Two jokes, same sentence. Get distracted. Yep. The 1, 2, and 3 that had somehow become my lifeline. Two choices would doom me. One choice would stop the grate. I found numbers in the inscription. It must be a riddle, a logic problem, a maze of words worse than any worm's labyrinth. "Feyre!" Lucian cried, panting as he stared at the ever-lowering spikes. The gleeful faces of the high fae and lesser fairies sneered at me above the grate. 3. Grasshoppers. The gate wouldn't stop, and there wasn't a full body length between my head and the first of those spikes. I could have sworn the heat devoured the air in the pit. Boo, bow, boon, king, sing, boo, bow, bouncing. I should say my goodbyes to Tamlin right now. That was what my life amounted to. These were my last moments. This was it. The final breaths of my body. The last beatings of my heart. "Just pick one!" Lucian shouted, and some of those in the crowd laughed, his brothers no doubt the loudest. I reached a hand toward the levers and stared at the 3 numbers beyond my trembling, tattooed fingers. 1, 2, 3. They meant nothing to me beyond life and death. Chance might save me, but 2. Guys, this is all cheesy, sorry. 2 was a lucky number, because that was like Tamlin and me. Just 2 people. 1 had to be bad, because 1 was like Amarantha or the Ator. Solitary beings. 1 was a nasty number. And 3 was too much. It was 3 sisters crammed into a tiny cottage, hating each other until they choked on it, until it poisoned them. I think you're reading into this a bit, ma'am. After this, let's go to therapy. two. It was two. I could gladly, willingly, fanatically believe in a cauldron and fate if they would take care of me. I believed in two. Two. I reached for the second lever, but a blinding pain racked my hand before I could touch the stone. I hissed, withdrawing. Oh, guys. I opened my palm to reveal the slitted eye tattooed there. It narrowed. I had to be hallucinating. The grate was about to cover the inscription, barely 6 feet above my head. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The heat was too much, and metal sizzled so close to my ears. I again reached for the middle lever, but the pain paralyzed my fingers. The eye had returned to its usual state. I extended my hand toward the first lever. Again, pain. I reached for the third lever. No pain. My fingers met with stone, and I looked up to find the grate not 4 feet from my head. Through it, I found a star-flecked violet gaze. I reached for the first lever. Pain. But when I reached for the third lever, Thorns' face remained a mask of boredom. Sweat slipped down my brow, stinging my eyes. I could only trust him. I could only give myself up again, forced to concede by my helplessness. The spikes were so enormous up close. All I had to do was lift my arm above my head, and I'd burn the flesh off my hands. "Feyre, please!" Lucian moaned. I shook so badly I could scarcely stand. The heat of the spikes bore down on me. The stone lever was cool in my hand. I shut my eyes, unable to look at Tamlin, bracing myself for the impact and the agony, and pulled the third lever. Silence. The pulsing heat didn't grow closer. Then, a sigh. Lucian. Right, yes, Queen. There it is. He's helping. Surely he can't be that bad. Yeah. No. He's helping right now. No matter what anybody else said. He's helping for himself. He's not helping for her. He's helping for him. Because he wants to control her and torture her and own her and all of those things. Plus, he's got literal money on it. So there we go. No trusting. No trusting. The dog's eating dinner. It's very loud. Sorry. And yes, 6 feet is a pretty long distance. I think it's just that, like, because the grates are so huge, like, they seem relatively closer, right? Like a 6-foot ceiling is not, like, it feels cramped, even though it's technically fairly high. Okay. I opened my eyes to find my tattooed fingers white-knuckled beneath the ink as they gripped the lever. The spikes hovered not inches from my head. Unmoving. Stopped. I had won. I had... The grate groaned as it lifted toward the ceiling, cool air flooding the chamber. I gulped it down in uneven breaths. Lucian was offering up some kind of prayer, kissing the ground again and again. The floor beneath me rose, and I was forced to release the lever that had saved me as I was brought to the surface again. My knees wobbled. I couldn't read, and it had almost killed me. I hadn't even won properly. I sank to my knees, letting the platform carry me, and covered my face in my shaking hands. tears burned just before pain seared through my left arm. I would never beat the third task. I would never free Tamlin or his people. The pain shot through my bones again, and through my increasing hysteria, I heard words inside my head that stopped me short. Don't let her see you cry. Put your hands at your sides and stand up. I couldn't move. Stand. Don't give her the satisfaction of seeing you break. My knees and spine, not entirely of my own will, forced me upright, and when the ground at last stopped moving, I looked at Amarantha with tearless eyes. Good, Rasand told me. Stare her down. No tears. Wait until you're back in your cell. Irredeemable. Don't care. It's for him. Just a reminder. We never forget. We never forget. Rasand is cancelled. Amarantha's face was drawn and white, her black eyes like onyx as she beheld me. I had won, but I should be dead. I should be squashed, my blood oozing everywhere. Count to 10. Don't look at Tamlin, just stare at her. I obeyed. It was the only thing that kept me from giving in to the sobs trapped within my chest, thundering to get out. I willed myself to meet Amarantha's gaze. It was cold and vast and full of ancient malice, but I held it. I counted to 10. Good girl. Now walk away. Turn on your heel. Good. Walk toward the door. Keep your chin high. Let the crowd part. One step after another. I listened to him, let him keep me tethered to sanity as I was escorted back to my cell by the guards, who still kept their distance. Rasand's words echoed through my mind, holding me together. But when my cell door closed, he went silent, and I dropped to the floor and wept. Want him in your head? Get out of here, dude. Thanks for the help, but fuck you. I wept for hours. For myself, for Tamlin, for the fact that I should be dead and had somehow survived. I cried for everything I'd lost, every injury I'd ever received, every wound, physical or otherwise. I cried for that trivial part of me once so full of color and light, now hollow and dark and empty. I couldn't stop. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't beat her. She won today, and she hadn't known it. She'd won. It was only by cheating that I'd survived. Tamlin would never be free, and I would perish in the most awful of ways. I couldn't read. I was an ignorant human fool. My shortcomings had caught up with me, and this place would become my tomb. I would never paint again, never see the sun again. The walls closed in. The ceiling dropped. I wanted to be crushed. I wanted to be snuffed out. Everything converged, squeezing inward, sucking out air. I couldn't keep myself in my body. The walls were forcing me out of it. I was grasping for my body, but it hurt too much. Each time I tried to maintain the connection, all I had wanted, all I had dared want, was a life that was quiet, easy. Nothing more than that. Nothing extraordinary. But now, I felt the ripple in the darkness without having to look up, and didn't flinch at the soft footsteps that approached me. I didn't bother hoping it would be Tamlin. Still weeping, Rasand? I didn't lower my hands from my face. The floor rose toward the lower ceiling. I would soon be flattened. There was no color, no light here. You've just beaten her second task. Tears are unnecessary. I wept harder, and he laughed. The stones reverberated as he knelt before me. And though I tried to fight him, his grip was firm as he grasped my wrists and pried my hands from my face. The walls weren't moving and the room was open, gaping. No colors, but shades of darkness, of night. Only those star-flecked violet eyes were bright, full of color and light. See, this is trauma bonding. Not okay. Not okay. He gave me a lazy smile before he leaned forward. Oh, lazy smile. I pulled away, but his hands were like shackles. I could do nothing. Y'all, it's not as bad as I thought it was when I initially read the sentence. Because I do read about a sentence ahead. Still not okay. I could do nothing as his mouth met with my cheek, and he licked away a tear. Don't do that! Why did he do that? What is with this tear thing? Did it in Twilight, and they're doing it here, and it's fucking weird. Like, I'm not kink shaming, but probably don't drink the tears of somebody you're into, okay? I'm just recommending it as like it's a weird thing and don't do it. Cool? Cool. Just fuck it, just what? Oh my god, I'm just like so into your crying. That's sexy, it's fucked up, dude. Anyway. Oh no. I don't like, this is gonna get weird and bad again, guys. No. Need a second. Can read this next part. But I don't like it. Is this what we're here for? Is me getting angry? Is this what we want? This is where I'm at. His tongue was hot against my skin. So startling that I couldn't move as he licked away another path of salt water and then another. Stop it! Stop licking her face! You're not a dog! Get out of here! My body went taut and loose all at once, and I burned, even as chills shuddered along my limbs. True. You were right, Katrisha. She was fully intended on reading this, and then somebody said she shouldn't. I don't know what that email said. And I don't know who sent it. But I'm here. This is where I am right now. I dug my grave. I gotta lay in it. I was like, surely it can't be that bad. Surely it's fine. I've read some fucked up stuff. I've seen some fucked up things. I'll be fine. This'll be fine. And I'm okay. I will be okay. But in the moment, okay, Trisha. Was that in fact fine? Yeah, maybe. It's okay. I trigger warninged the whole rating last time. I was like, the whole thing. I was like, whatever happens today is bad. I was like, this is the bad one. And it was right to the end of last time. It was bad. So. But see, that's the thing, right? Like, see, it's like, it's bad. Like, it's like, eh. That does make me feel a lot better. That makes me feel a lot better. Because I'm so deeply concerned. Because, like, yes, that's, like, probably the worst part, like, overall. I'm just concerned that there are going to be following parts that, although not as bad, will just, like, give me trauma flashbacks to that part and make me go, like, no, this isn't okay! Because the thing happened! Like I said, don't be sorry if spoilers, because all I can do is predict. Knowing that's the worst part does help me. I appreciate it. All I'm saying is... No! If he becomes a character that we're supposed to, like, fall in love with, this is the only... It's okay, Trisha. Okay, Trisha, it's okay. I'll be alright. I'm fine. I just get really riled up, and then I chill out and I'm cool. The only situation that will make me okay with him being any kind of, like, anti-hero or, like, redeemable romantic lead dude, anything, the only thing that'll make it all right is if there is some very deep fundamental change in him. I don't know what that means yet, but there has to be some, like, massive, like, turning of the tables, some big event where he is basically no longer the same person, and that's the only way. Because I will remind myself, just as I have to remind myself when we have problems with other fictional characters from time to time, that this is fiction. Yes, my, how they turn tables. So something major has to occur in order for me to find this acceptable, because at this moment, it is not. His, like, entire soul needs to be, like, ripped from his body, washed in a washing machine, hung it on the line to dry, beat with a carpet beater, and then put back in him. And that's the only way. You gotta completely turn it around. Someone wash his soul out, is what I'm saying. But back to the terrible thing he's doing right this exact moment in the book. That I don't like that they're implying that she, like, kinda on some level likes it, because it's not okay. Physical reactions are not consent. All of you remember that. If somebody does a thing to you that you don't like, but your body reacts to it, does not mean that you're consenting. And you don't need to feel guilty for what your body does. Remember that. That's very important. Back to book. Jumping back in. It was only when his tongue danced along the damp edges of my lashes that I jerked back. He chuckled as I scrambled for the corner of the cell. I wiped my face as I glared at him. He smirked, sitting down against a wall. I figured that would get you to stop crying. It was disgusting. I wiped my face again. Was it? He quirked an eyebrow and pointed to his palm. To the place where my tattoo would be. Beneath all your pride and stubbornness, I could have sworn I detected something that felt differently. Interesting. See, there he is. He's like, seemed like you liked it. You were asking for it. Fuck you. Piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. I hope he dies in a hole. It's not gonna happen, but I'm mad right now. Again. Get out. As usual, your gratitude is overwhelming. Do you want me to kiss your feet for what you did at the trial? Do you want me to offer another week of my life? Not unless you feel compelled to do so, he said, his eyes like stars, his eyes like two terrible, awful things that I can't name right now because I'm not good at insulting people. It was bad enough that my life was forfeited to this Fey Lord. That sounded like a slur. And I could have spit it out like one. But it wasn't. But I'm still mad. Two terrible, awful things that are bad. Yes. But to have a bond where he could now freely read my thoughts and feelings and communicate. Who would have thought that the self-righteous human girl couldn't read? Keep your damn mouth. Imagine if she'd actually done that. How embarrassing. Happens to me all the time. Keep your damn mouth shut about it. Me? I wouldn't dream of telling anyone. Why waste that kind of knowledge on petty gossip? If I'd had the strength, I would have leaped on him and ripped him apart. You're a disgusting bastard. He is a disgusting bastard, you're correct. I'll have to ask Tamblin if this kind of flattery won his heart. He groaned as he stood, a soft, deep-throated noise that traveled along my bones. His eyes met with mine, and he smiled slowly. I exposed my teeth, almost hissing. Thank you, Katrisha. I kind of went with like, because it says he's got like a sexy voice, and I was like, okay, so he's also like a nighttime man, so what if he's kind of sleepy? I don't know. It's just what I found. I am enjoying it also. Same with like how I settled into a Tamlin voice that I really liked, because he was very growly and like lion-y. Right? I'm liking the work. Yeah, like an evil dude bro, right? Because it's kind of how he's acting. He's a douche. I always think of dude bros as very sleepy guys. But also, this groan that he did, I think was meant to be kind of like him being like, this is what it sounds like when I'm like doing sex stuff. And I don't like that. And don't do that, sir. Could you not moan in here, sir? And I like that she hissed at him. I'll spare you the escort duties tomorrow. Good, he said, shrugging as he walked to the cell door. But the night after, I expect you to be looking your finest. He gave me a grin that suggested my finest wasn't very much at all. Fucker. He paused by the door, but didn't dissolve into darkness. I've been thinking of ways to torment you when you come to my court. I'm wondering, will assigning you to learn to read be as painful as it looked today? Piece of shit. He vanished into shadow before I could launch myself at him. I paced through my cell, scowling at the eye in my hand. I spat every curse I could at it, but there was no response. People highlight this next part frequently, if that means anything. It took me a long while to realize that Rasand, whether he knew it or not, had effectively kept me from shattering completely. Well, isn't that great? Isn't that just wonderful for you? I don't want to be mad at Feyre. It's not really her fault. But I'm mad at him. And now is chapter 40. Hi. Mimi agrees. Oh, you hate the frequent highlighting? I kind of like it because it informs me that this is in some way important. And makes my brain go, remember that this is an important thing that you should look at, whether it's important to the story or just important culturally. Look at it for a second. Take it in, because otherwise your ADHD brain might just turn it off. And you might never remember. Don't tell me what to find important. Oh, yeah. I mean, take it or leave it, hey, but it's, you know. All right. So we will move on to chapter 41. It's quite a short one, so I don't know if we'll also do chapter 42, but if we get through this, maybe. And I'm just so mad that this is still happening to her. Stop! Just leave her alone. You just leave her alone? I'm not even asking to, like, let her go. Just stop bugging her. Let the girl sleep. Just fuck off. I don't know what else to say, man. Just let her, just fuck off. I don't know, dude. Isn't it boring? Like, did the same thing every fucking night? The same stupid thing? You want to do that every time, huh? Boring. Yeah, she should have prepared a little better, Katrisha. I know. Yeah, you are correct. Yep. Just boring. Let's get into chapter 41. Let's update the tracker first so I don't forget, because I always forget. Here we go. What followed the second trial was a series of days that I don't care to recall. A permanent darkness settled over me, and I began to look forward to the moment when Razan gave me that goblet of fairy wine and I could lose myself for a few hours. Oh, no. Don't do that. Don't do that. What? Oh, that's the worst. Oh, what? Huh? No. Why? Stop. Anyway. I stopped contemplating Amarantha's riddle. It was impossible. It's not. It's not. It's so easy. Girl, it's so easy. It's so easy. Just say anything. Stop. It's a bad riddle. Oh, I hate riddles. And this is I'm sure she said there was a punishment for getting it wrong. I'm sure it's like, oh, if you get this wrong, you'll die. We'll push you in a pit of fire. Or something like that. But see, this next sentence is exactly why she can't get it. Because she says, especially for an illiterate, ignorant human. That's how she thinks of herself. And that's why she won't succeed. Illiterate does not mean stupid. Because it's a thing you can work on and you can change about yourself. That's a changeable feature. And so ascribing it to yourself as though it is a permanent thing is not fair. And you're not ignorant because you attempt to learn things. You're ignorant if you don't bother to try. Feyre needs to go to a lot of things. A lot of things that are not this. Because essentially what's happened here is she has been trafficked into sex work, is what we're seeing right now, and I'm very unhappy about it. I'm not happy about it. Everything okay? Where was that? My dog is sick and it stinks. Focus. Okay. Thinking of Tamlin made everything worse. I'd beaten 2 of Amarantha's tasks, but I knew it deep in my bones that the 3rd would be the one to kill me. After what had happened to her sister, what Jurian had done, she would never let me leave here alive. I couldn't entirely blame her. I doubted I would ever forget or forgive something like that being done to Nesta or Elaine, no matter how many centuries had passed. But I still wasn't going to leave here alive. That is perfect. Yes, Queen. Yes, book 2, A Court of Meds and Therapy. Yeah. Only way around it. The future I dreamed of was just that, a dream. I'd grow old and withered, while he would remain young for centuries, perhaps millennia. At best, I'd have decades with him before I died. Decades. That was what I was fighting for. A flash in time for them. A drop in the pool of their eons. So I greedily drank the wine, and I stopped caring about who I was and what had once mattered to me. I stopped thinking about color, about light, about the green of Tamlin's eyes, about all those things I had still wanted to paint and I would never get to. I wasn't going to leave this mountain alive. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because now you just give up. Don't do that. I am unhappy for her. We are enraged on her behalf. I was walking to the dressing chamber with Rasan's 2 shadow servants, staring at nothing and thinking of even less, when a hissing noise and the flap of wings sounded from around an upcoming corner. The Ator. The fairies beside me tensed, but their chins rose slightly. I'd never become accustomed to the Ator, but I had come to accept its malignant presence. Seeing my escorts stiffen awakened a dormant dread, and my mouth turned dry as we neared the bend. Even though we were veiled and hidden by shadow, each step brought me closer to that winged demon. My feet turned leaden. Then a lower, guttural voice grunted in response to the hissing of the Ator. Nails clicked on stone, and my escorts swapped glances before they swung me into an alcove. A tapestry that hadn't been there a moment before falling over us. The shadows deepening, solidifying. I had a feeling that if someone pulled back that tapestry, they would see only darkness and stone. One of them covered my mouth with a hand, holding me tightly to her. Shadows slithering down her arm and onto mine. She smelled of jasmine. I'd never noticed that before. After all these nights, I didn't even know their names. Do you wanna? They're like clearly cool with this, and I don't wanna know them. The Ator and its companion rounded the bend, still talking, their voices low. It was only when I could understand their words that I realized we weren't merely hiding.
Yes,
the Ator was saying.
Good. Shall be most pleased to hear that they're ready at last. But will the High Lords contribute their forces?
The guttural voice replied. I could have sworn it snorted like a pig. Excuse me, miss. Don't eat that. They came closer and closer, unaware of us. My escorts pressed in tighter to me, so tense that I realized they were holding their breath. Handmaidens and spies.
The High Lords will do as she tells them,
the Ator gloated, and its tail slithered and slashed across the floor.
I heard talk from soldiers in Highburn that the High King is not pleased regarding this situation with the girl. Amarantha made a fool's bargain. She cost him the war the last time because of her madness with Jurian. If she turns her back on him again, he will not be so willing to forgive her. Stealing his spells and taking a territory for her own is one thing. Failure to aid in his cause a second time is another.
Where the fuck did that voice come from? I don't know, will I ever be able to do it again? I don't know. There was a loud hiss. So, guys. Hey, Mimi. Shh. Shh. Thank you. There was a loud hiss, and I trembled as the Ator snapped its jaws at its companion.
Milady makes no bargains that are not advantageous to her. She lets them claw at hope, but once it is shattered, they are her beautifully broken minions.
They had to be passing right before the tapestry. Thank you, Katrisha. I will turn that music down.
You had better hope so,
the guttural voice replied. What manner of creature was this thing to be so unmoved by the Ator? My escort's shadowy hand clamped tighter around my mouth, and the Ator passed on. Don't trust your senses, Alice's voice echoed through my mind. The Ator had caught me once before when I thought I was safe.
And you had better hold your tongue, the Ator warned, or Milady will do so for you, and her pincers are not kind.
The other creature snorted that pig noise.
I am here on a condition of immunity from the king. If your lady thinks she's above the king because she rules this wretched land, she'll soon remember who can strip her powers away, without spells and potions.
The Ator didn't reply, and a part of me wished for it to retort, to snap back. But it was silenced, and fear hit my stomach like a stone dropped into a pool. Whatever plans the King of Hybern had been working on for these long years, his campaign to take back the mortal world, it seemed he was no longer content to wait. Perhaps Amarantha would soon receive what she wanted. Destruction of my entire realm. My blood went cold. Nesta. I trusted Nesta to get my family away, to protect them. Their voices faded, and it wasn't until a good extra minute had passed the two females relaxed. The tapestry vanished, and we slipped back into the hall. What was that? I said, looking from one to the other as the shadows around us lightened, but not by much. Who was that? I clarified. Trouble, they answered in unison. Does Rasan know? He will soon, one of them said. We resumed our silent walk to the dressing room. There was nothing I could do about the King of Hybern anyway. Not while trapped under the mountain. Not when I hadn't even been able to free Tamlin, much less myself. And with Nesta prepared to flee with my family, there was no one else to warn. So day after day passed, bringing my third trial ever closer.
God damn it! Just stop!
I suppose I sank so far into myself that it took something extraordinary to pull me out again. I was watching the light dance along the damp stones of the ceiling of my cell, like moonlight or water, when a noise traveled to me, down through the stones, rippling across the floor. I was so used to the strange fiddles and drums of the fairies that when I heard the lilting melody, I thought it was another hallucination. Sometimes, if I stared at the ceiling long enough, it became the vast expanse of the starry night sky, and I became a small, unimportant thing that blew away in the wind. I looked toward the small vent in the corner of the ceiling through which the music entered my cell. The source must have been far away, for it was just a faint stirring of notes. But when I closed my eyes, I could hear it more clearly. Shh. I could see it, as if it were a grand painting, a living mural. There was beauty in this music, beauty and goodness. The music folded over itself like batter being poured from a bowl, one note atop another, melting together to form a whole, rising, filling me. It wasn't wild music, but there was a violence of passion in it, a swelling kind of joy and sorrow. I pulled my knees to my chest, needing to feel the sturdiness of my skin, even with the slime of the oily paint upon it. The music built a path, an ascent founded upon archways of color. I followed it, walking out of that cell, through layers of earth, up and up, into fields of cornflowers, past a canopy of trees, and into the open expanse of sky. The pulse of the music was like hands that gently pushed me onward, pulling me higher, guiding me through the clouds. I'd never seen clouds like these. In their puffy sides, I could discern faces fair and sorrowful. They faded before I could view them too clearly, and I looked into the distance to where the music summoned me. It was either a sunset or sunrise. The sun filled the clouds with magenta and purple, and its orange-gold rays blended with my path to form a band of shimmering metal. I wanted to fade into it, wanted the light of that sun to burn me away, to fill me with such joy that I would become a ray of sunshine myself. This wasn't music to dance to. It was music to worship, music to fill in the gaps of my soul, to bring me to a place where there was no pain. I didn't realize I was weeping until the wet warmth of a tear splashed upon my arm. But even then, I clung to the music, gripping it like a ledge that kept me from falling. I hadn't realized how badly I didn't want to tumble into that deep dark, how much I wanted to stay here among the clouds and color and light. I let the sounds ravage me. Let them lay me flat and run over my body with their drums. Up and up, building to a palace in the sky, a hall of alabaster and moonstone, where all that was lovely and kind and fantastic dwelled in peace. I wept, wept to be so close to that place, wept from the need to be there. Everything I wanted was there. The one I loved was there. The music was Tamlin's fingers strumming my body. It was the gold in his eyes and the twist of his smile. It was that breathy chuckle and the way he said those 3 words. It was this I was fighting for. This I had sworn to save. The music rose, louder, grander, faster, from wherever it was played. A wave that peaked, shattering the gloom of my cell. A shuddering sob broke from me as the sound faded into silence. I sat there, trembling and weeping, too raw and exposed, left naked by the music and the color in my mind. When the tears had stopped, but the music still echoed in my every breath, I lay on my pallet of hay, listening to my breathing. The music flittered through my memories, binding them together, making them into a quilt that wrapped around me, that warmed my bones. I looked at the eye in the center of my palm, but it only stared right back at me, unmoving. 2 more days until my final trial. Just 2 more days, and then I would learn what the eddies of the cauldron had planned for me. Oh, that ended. Yeah. That was pretty but sad. Alright, y'all, I think we can do this one last chapter. I think we can do one more. And then that'll be it for tonight. Oh, no. Oh. I think that was Tamlin playing that music, but I don't know how or why. But I think it was. Yeah, I'm going to try to end on a less depressed note. I don't know what this, And like, I mean, we're starting right back at another one of these stupid making her a stripper things. I really don't like it. Like, I really don't like it. Like, you know what it is? I have this very specific, like... Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate you lurking for moral support. I mean, like, all the upsetting stuff I've explained. Basically, she's imprisoned here, and she's trying to save the guy she keeps talking about that she's in love with. A lot of other stuff happened, but I think that's maybe the gap that fills in so you can follow a little bit closer. But oh my god. But anyway, it's you know what? Sure. I wish it was that gay. There has been no gayness yet, but you know, hey. No, it's. I'll share a small story here before we get started, because it's nowhere near as bad, but it was like I just had this feeling when this thing happened to me, and it's like poking that button for me. So there have been times when I used to dance on the bar at this bar. Like, I'd be hired to do like bar top improv burlesque up there, and like usually it's very like everybody's really respectful, and like people will sit like right up on the bar, but like the standard rule is no touching and all of that, right? And occasionally, sometimes like really drunk, specifically drunk women would come up and they would like touch my legs and stuff, but it wasn't like the same because they were really drunk and they were just like being girly with me, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it. It's different though, because there's nothing sexual about it, and it's very obvious, and it's like them trying to like be my friend, and I still don't like it, but I can deal with that a little bit more easily, and it's easier for me to go like, oh, it's okay, and then back away, and it's not like a weird awkward thing, and I don't feel violated. And this is where it happened, and I don't know if I need to give any sort of trigger warning for this, but it was like, you know, a moment I didn't like. So the DJ at this venue, he wasn't always the DJ, but he was the DJ sometimes. And I never had an issue with this guy, but like we didn't know each other. We weren't like friends. And what would happen is you would do you'd do some dancing on the bar, and you'd kind of like, you'd aim your garments at that one particular end of the bar where there was sort of like a section you kind of sit on. And then the bartenders would try to help you out by like putting everything back there. So when you were done, you'd make your way back over to that spot and then sit down. And it was also close to the DJ booth. And so I made my way back there. I sat down, and then like something about the way that I had my back angled towards this dude made him think that it was okay to take his finger and run it right down my spine. Because I was sweaty. And he did that. And when I turned around, startled, he just went, I just had to. You just had to, sir? You just had to touch my exposed back? Why?
Why? Why would you do this?
And in that moment, I was so, like, just stunned. I didn't say anything about it. I was like, I still have work to do here right now. And I don't have the capacity to deal with that. And so I just put my costume back on, rested for another moment, and then got up and continued the rest of my shift. And then when I was done, I left. And I don't know if I'm misremembering that, but I'm pretty sure that was the last time I went to that venue. Last time I got hired to go there. And if it wasn't too long after that, because I only did a couple of gigs at that place, but yeah. And so it's something like, and so like I said, it's nowhere near as bad as this. Clearly. Because I was also sober and like mostly nude by choice. But that feeling, it reminds me of that. It's that like dialed up way high. And so I'm like having this reaction to it. It's like that. So like I just have a lot of angry feelings about it. But I'll be all right. Okay. So, chapter 42. I hope this ends on a better note. Hopefully some sort of better note. Yeah, shit like that does definitely happen. It is unfortunate. And most of the time, I will say this, burlesque spaces are usually extremely safe. I have had very few interactions that have been like genuinely off-putting in those spaces. I've had more reactions in like modeling situations or acting situations than I ever have in a burlesque space. Like infinitely more. So, take with that what you will. Chapter 42. It was a party like any other, even if it would likely be my last. Fairies drank and lounged and danced, laughing and singing bawdy and ethereal songs. No glimmer of anticipation for what might occur tomorrow. What I stood to alter for them, for their world. Perhaps they knew I would die too. I lurked by a wall, forgotten by the crowd, waiting for Rassand to beckon me to drink the wine and dance, or do whatever it was he wished of me. I was clothed in my typical attire, tattooed from the neck down with that blue-black paint. Tonight, my gossamer gown was a shade of sunset pink, the color too bright and feminine against the whirls of paint on my skin. Too cheery for what awaited me tomorrow. Too cheery for the situation you're in right now, girl. Rassand was taking longer than usual to summon me, though it was probably because of the supple-bodied fairy perched in his lap, caressing his hair with her long greenish fingers. He'd tire of her soon. Dude, see? You've got girls all over you who probably want to be there. Like, why you do this? Why you do this? I didn't bother to look at Amarantha. I was better off pretending she wasn't there. Lucian never spoke to me in public, and Tamlin... It had become difficult to look at him in recent days. I just wanted it done. I wanted that wine to carry me through this last night and bring me to my fate. I was so intent on anticipating Rassand's order to serve him that I didn't notice that someone stood beside me until the heat from his body leaked onto mine. I went rigid when I smelled that rain and earthen scent, and didn't dare to turn to Tamlin. We stood side by side, staring out at the crowd, as still and unnoticeable as statues. His fingers brushed mine, and a line of fire went through me, burning me so badly that my eyes pricked with tears. I wished he wasn't touching my marred hands, that his fingers didn't have to caress the contours of that wretched tattoo. But I lived in that moment. My life became beautiful again for those few seconds when our hands grazed. I kept my face set in a mask of cold. He dropped his hand, and as quickly as he had come, he sauntered off, weaving through the crowd. It was only when he glanced over his shoulder and inclined his head ever so slightly that I understood. My heart beat faster than it ever had during my trials, and I made myself look as bored as possible before I pushed off the wall and casually strolled after him. I took a different route, but headed toward the small door half hidden by a tapestry near which he lingered. I had only moments before Rassand would begin looking for me, but a moment alone with Tamlin would be enough. I could scarcely breathe as I moved nearer and nearer to the door, past Amarantha's dais, past a group of giggling fairies. Tamlin disappeared through the door as quick as lightning, and I slowed my steps to a meandering pace. These days, no one really paid attention to me until I became Reese's drugged plaything. All too quickly, the door was before me, and it swung open noiselessly to let me in. Darkness encompassed me. I saw only a flash of green and gold before the warmth of Tamlin's body slammed into me and our lips met. I couldn't kiss him deeply enough, couldn't hold him tightly enough, couldn't touch enough of him. Words weren't necessary. I tore at his shirt, needing to feel the skin beneath one last time, and I had to stifle the moan that rose up in me as he grasped my breast. Grasp my breast? Oi! Guys, I was so mad that the spicy came out of nowhere. Better feeling. Better feeling. Oh no. I didn't want him to be gentle, because what I felt for him wasn't at all like that. What I felt was wild and hard and burning. Ooh. Yeah. I'm gonna go back to this, just reread this sentence, because what I felt was wild and hard and burning, and so he was with me. Woo! He tore his lips from mine and bit my neck. Bit it as he had on Fire Night. I had to grind my teeth to keep myself from moaning and giving us away. This might be the last time I touched him. The last time we could be together. I wouldn't waste it. My fingers grappled with his belt buckle, and his mouth found mine again. There's, you found a moment to be alone. I understand the impulse. I agree, Katusha, but, I don't know. He can't tell her the answer to the riddle. I don't think he knows what's going on. I don't know. Going for the belt. You're right, War Corgi, going for the belt. It's a lot going on, but I mean, hey, if I'm sure Tamlin, being very smart, has done some degree of risk assessment here and was just sort of like, I can't actually help her that much. Let's just do this. And that's just the story I'm going to tell myself to make this make sense. My fingers grappled with his belt buckle and his mouth found mine again. Our tongues danced. Not a waltz or a minuet, but a war dance. Ooh, a death dance of bone drums and screaming fiddles. Ooh, ah, ee. I wanted him. Here. Oh no. I hooked a leg around his middle, needing to be closer, and he ground his hips harder against me. Ooh, bone drums. Crushing me into the icy wall. I pried the belt buckle loose, whipping the leather free, and Tamlin growled his desire in my ear. Ooh. A low, probing sort of sound that made me see red and white and lightning. We both knew what tomorrow would bring. I tossed away his belt and started fumbling for his pants. Oh no. Someone coughed. This fucking guy!
Shameful,
Rasan purred, and we whirled to find him faintly illuminated by the light that broke in through the doorway. But he stood behind us, further into the passage, rather than toward the door. He hadn't come in through the throne room. With that ability of his, he'd probably walked through the walls.
Just shameful.
He stalked toward us. Tamlin remained holding me.
Look at what you've done to my pet.
This fucking guy! Panting, neither of us said anything. But the air became a cold kiss upon my skin, upon my exposed breasts.
Amarantha would be greatly aggrieved if she knew her little warrior was dallying with the human help.
Rasan went on, crossing his arms.
I wonder how she'd punish you. Or perhaps she'd stay true to habit and punish Lucian. He still has one eye to lose after all. Maybe she'll put it in a ring too.
Ever so slowly, Tamlin removed my hands from his body and stepped out of my embrace.
I'm glad to see you're being reasonable,
Rasan said, and Tamlin bristled.
Now be a clever High Lord and buckle your belt and fix your clothes before you go out there.
Fuck off! Fuck off! Tamlin looked at me, and to my horror, did as Rasan instructed. My High Lord never took his eyes off my face as he straightened his tunic and hair, then retrieved and fastened his belt again. The paint on his hands and clothes, paint from me, vanished.
Enjoy the party,
Rasan crooned, pointing to the door. Fucking fuck. Fuck. Tamlin's green eyes flickered as they continued to stare into mine. He softly said,
I love you.
Without another glance at Rasan, he left. I was temporarily blinded by the brightness that poured in when he opened the door and slipped out. He did not look back at me before the door snicked shut and darkness returned to the dim hall. Rasan chuckled.
If you're that desperate for release, you should have asked me.
Fucker. Pig, I snapped, covering my breasts with the folds of my gown. Okay, everybody. Hang on. This part feels not It's bad. For just a second, I think, but still bad. With a few easy steps, he crossed the distance between us and pinned my arms to the wall. My bones groaned. I could have sworn shadow talons dug into the stones beside my head.
Do you actually intend to put yourself at my mercy, or are you truly that stupid?
His voice was composed of sensuous bone-breaking ire. Well, my bone is broken. I'm not your slave.
You're a fool, Feyre. Do you have any idea what could have happened had Amarantha found you two in here? Tamlin might refuse to be her lover, but she keeps him at her side out of the hope that she'll break him, dominate him, as she loves to do with our kind.
I kept silent.
You're both fools, he murmured,
his breathing uneven.
How did you not think that someone would notice you were gone? You should thank the cauldron Lucian's delightful brothers weren't watching you.
What do you care? I barked, and his grip tightened enough on my wrists that I knew my bones would snap with a little more pressure.
What do I care?
He breathed, wrath twisting his features. Wings. Those membranous, glorious wings flared from his back, crafted from the shadows behind him.
What do I care?
But before he could go on, his head snapped to the door, then back to my face. The wings vanished as quickly as they had appeared, and then his lips were crushing into mine. God damn it! His tongue pried my mouth open, forcing himself into me, into the space where I could still taste Tamlin. Fuck off. I pushed and thrashed, but he held firm, his tongue sweeping over the roof of my mouth against my teeth, claiming my mouth, claiming me. Go die in a hole, motherfucker. Nope. 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 Not cool. Not cool. So mad. Needed a second. The door was flung wide, and Amarantha's curved figure filled its space. Tamlin was beside her. His eyes slightly wide, shoulders tight as Rhys's lips still crushed mine. Amarantha laughed, and a mask of stone slammed down on Tamlin's face, void of feeling, void of anything vaguely like the Tamlin I'd been tangled up with moments before. Rhys casually released me with a flick of his tongue over my bottom lip as a crowd of high fae appeared behind Amarantha and chimed in with her laughter. Fuck off! Rhysand gave them a lazy, self-indulgent grin and bowed. But something sparked in the Queen's eyes as she looked at Rhysand. Amarantha's whore, they'd called him. Oh, would you frickin' fuck? I knew it was a matter of time, she said, putting a hand on Tamlin's arm. The other she lifted so Jurian's eye might see as she said, "You humans are all the same, aren't you?" I kept my mouth shut, even as I could have died for the shame, even as I ached to explain. Tamlin had to realize the truth. But I wasn't given the luxury of learning whether Tamlin understood, as Amarantha clicked her tongue and turned away, taking her entourage with her. typical human trash with their inconsistent, dull hearts," she said to herself. Nothing more than a satisfied cat. Following them, Reese grabbed my arm to drag me back into the throne room. It was only when the light hit me that I saw the smudges and smears on my paint. Smudges along my breasts and stomach, and the paint that had mysteriously appeared on Rasan's hands.
"I'm tired of you for tonight,"
Reese said, giving me a light shove toward the main exit.
"Go back to your cell."
I mean, yeah, she didn't know but also, like, I think what she's worried about is, like, does he know what happened just then? And they're not going to have a chance to talk about that. Oh, he's the worst. This man is the worst. Okay. Behind him, Amarantha and her court smiled with glee, their grins widening when they beheld the marred paint. I looked for Tamlin, but he was stalking for his usual throne on the dais, keeping his back to me, as if he couldn't stand to look. Why? Irredeemable. Do not forgive him. Forgive him for nothing. Always remember. I need to remember this because fuck. I don't know what time it was, but hours later, footsteps sounded inside my cell. Get out of here. I jolted into a sitting position, and Reese stepped out of a shadow. I could still feel the heat of his lips against mine. Don't think about it. You don't. Yuck. The smooth glide of his tongue inside my mouth, even though I'd washed my mouth out 3 times with the bucket of water in my cell. Good. Best you can do, I suppose, but fuck. Violating her. Fuck off. Stop trying to be sexy, you piece of shit. His tunic was unbuttoned at the top, and he ran a hand through his blue-black hair before he wordlessly slumped against the wall across from me and slid to the floor. What do you want? I demanded. A moment of peace and quiet, he snapped, rubbing his temples. I paused. From what? He massaged his pale skin, making the corner of his eyes go up and down, out and in. He sighed. From this mess. Yeah, you made a fucking mess, you piece of shit. Get out. Get out of here. Not forgiven. I sat up further on my pallet of hay. I'd never seen him so candid. I'm getting very tired from all of the yelling. This is a good moment to remind you all that there is a link being posted in chat pretty regularly if you ever feel like donating for all of the work that I do. For all of the work that I do. I need to buy some lozenges. Some edibles so I can go to sleep. My partner just went to the gym. He missed the end of this. I'll have to yell at him about it when he gets back. I sat up further on my pallet of hay. I'd never seen him so candid. That damned bitch is running me ragged. She running you ragged? Fuck off. He went on, and dropped his hands from his temples to lean his head against the wall.
You hate me. Imagine how you'd feel if I made you serve in my bedroom.
You're not that far off, you piece of shit.
I'm High Lord of the Night Court, not her harlot.
So what? Because it's done, people do things to you? You think you can just do things to other people? That's not how it works. So the slurs were true. And I could imagine very easily how much I would hate him. What it would do to me. To be enslaved to someone like that.
You kind of almost are. I hate to tell you this.
Exactly. Where should we pin the not completely a rapist medal? Yeah. Why are you telling me this? The swagger and nastiness were gone.
Because I'm tired and lonely. And you're the only person I can talk to without putting myself at risk.
He let out a low laugh.
How absurd. High Lord of Prithian and...
You can leave if you're just going to insult me.
But I'm so good at it.
He flashed one of his grins. I glared at him, but he sighed.
One wrong move tomorrow, Farah, and we're all doomed.
The thought struck a chord of such horror that I could hardly breathe.
And if you fail,
he went on, more to himself than to me,
then Amarantha will rule forever.
Excuse me, miss. Hey, stay out of there. Dog's being fucking weird. If she captured Tamlin's power once, who's to say she can't do it again? I think that was... Who said that? I can't tell. Doesn't matter. It was the question I hadn't yet dared to voice.
He won't be tricked again so easily, he said, staring up at the ceiling. Her biggest weapon is that she keeps our powers contained. But she can't access them, not wholly. Though she can control us through them. It's why I've never been able to shatter her mind. Why she's not dead already. The moment you break Amarantha's curse, Tamlin's wrath will be so great that no force in the world will keep him from splattering her on the walls.
A chill went through me.
Why do you think I'm doing this?
He waved a hand at me. No, this isn't... No, you don't get to say that you're doing this. No. Not a good enough reason. Because you're a monster.
Yeah.
He laughed.
True. But I'm also a pragmatist.
Fuck off.
Working Tamlin into a senseless fury is the best weapon we have against her. Seeing you enter into a fool's bargain with Amarantha was one thing. But when Tamlin saw my tattoo on your arm, oh, you should have been born with my abilities, if only to have felt the rage that seeped from him.
Yeah, towards you. You're fucking dead, dude. Like, what? No. I didn't want to think much about his abilities. Who's to say he won't splatter you as well?
Perhaps he'll try, but I have a feeling he'll kill Amarantha first. That's what it all boils down to, anyway. Even if your servitude to me can be blamed on her. So he'll kill her tomorrow,
and I'll be free before he can start a fight with me that will reduce our once sacred mountain to rubble. He picked at his nails. And I have a few other cards to play. Go away. Nobody likes you. You don't even go here. What's wrong with you? Now I'm just saying things. Completely disintegrated. I'm not even human anymore. I lifted my brows in silent question. Feyre, for Cauldron's sake, I drug you, but you don't wonder why I never touch you beyond your waist and arms? What are you about to say, dude? Until tonight, until that damned kiss, I gritted my teeth, but even as my anger rose, a picture cleared. No. What he says next is incorrect. It's the only claim I have to innocence, he said. The only thing that will make Tamlin think twice before entering into a battle with me that would cause a catastrophic loss of innocent life. It's the only way I can convince him I was on your side. Believe me, I would have liked nothing more than to enjoy you. Fuck off. But there are bigger things at stake than taking a human woman to my bed. The man just called himself innocent. Nah. No. No. Wrong. Just so wrong. He's delusional. I knew, but I still asked. Like what? Like my territory, he said, and his eyes held a far-off look that I hadn't yet seen. Like my remaining people? Enslaved to a tyrant queen who can end their lives with a single word? Surely Tamlin expressed similar sentiments to you. He hadn't. Not entirely. He hadn't been able to, thanks to the curse. Why did Amarantha target you? I dared ask. Why make you her whore? I don't like to keep using this word, by the way. Not great. Beyond the obvious, he gestured to his perfect face. Perfect fucking face. When I didn't smile, he loosed a breath. My father killed Tamlin's father, and his brothers. I started. Tamlin had never said, never told me the Night Court was responsible for that. It's a long story, and I don't feel like getting into it, but let's just say that when she stole our lands from under us, Amarantha decided that she especially wanted to punish the son of her friend's murderer. Decided that she hated me enough for my father's deeds that I was to suffer. I might have reached a hand toward him, might have offered my apologies, but every thought had dried up in my head. What Amarantha had done to him. Not enough. So, he said wearily, couldn't happen to a better person. That's harsh. That's harsh. Let's. I don't know. So, he said wearily, here we are, with the fate of our immortal world in the hands of an illiterate human. Fuck off. His laugh was unpleasant as he hung his head, cupping his forehead in a hand, and closed his eyes. What a mess. I just feel we could have achieved the same ends without all of the things. You know, all of the things? What if not all of the things and we did a different thing? What if we did a different thing and not that? And I feel like could have gotten there. But no, we had to do this weird sex pest thing. Okay. Part of me searched for the words to wound him in his vulnerability, but the other half recalled all that he had said. All that he had done. How his head had snapped to the door before he'd kissed me. He'd known Amarantha was coming. Maybe he'd done it to make her jealous. But maybe... no reason would be good enough for doing something like that. I don't care why you did it. It's not okay. If he hadn't been kissing me, if he hadn't shown up and interrupted us, I would have gone out into that throne room covered in smudged paint. And everyone, especially Amarantha, would have known what I'd been up to. It wouldn't have taken much to figure out whom I'd been with, especially not once they saw the paint on Tamlin. Well, I mean, yeah, but it doesn't... it's not an excuse. Right, Katrusha? I mean, he did admit that this is a mess. It is a very big mess. He created the big mess. Not all of it, but a lot of it. He did a lot of this. A lot of this is him. And you don't get to just come in and go like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm just shitty. I'm bad because bad things happen to me. I have trauma and therefore I'm allowed to be shitty. Not to that level, you're not. Like, I say shitty things all the time. I can be a huge bitch. I'm aware. And a lot of it is because I have a lot of trauma. But I admit those things. I admit to the fact that I make mistakes, and I have never assaulted anyone. I can say that. I definitely have never assaulted anyone. So there you go. I didn't want to consider what the punishment might have been. Regardless of his motives or his methods, Rasan was keeping me alive, and had done so even before I set foot under the mountain. There would have been better ways. It didn't have to go like this. I've told you too much, he said as he got to his feet. Perhaps I should have drugged you first. If you were clever, you'd find a way to use this against me. And if you had any stomach for cruelty, you'd go to Amarantha and tell her the truth about her whore. Perhaps she'd give you Tamlin for it. He slid his hands into the pockets of his black pants, trying to be all slouchy and like, so wounded. Like, we love a sad boy. We do. But not like this. Not like this. But even as he faded into shadow, there was something in the curve of his shoulders that made me speak. When you healed my arm, you didn't need to bargain with me. You could have demanded every single week of the year. His brows knit together as he turned, already half consumed by the dark. Every single week, and I would have said yes. It wasn't entirely a question, but I needed the answer. A half smile appeared on his sensuous lips.
I know,
he said, and vanished. Let's be honest. Didn't need to put a price on it at all. Could have just done it. Could have just done it. Didn't even need to put the tattoo there. You still could have done that if you wanted to make him mad, if that was the whole goal. A tattoo? Still shitty without consent, but more acceptable. I can forgive that. I can't forgive all of the other stuff. Giving her a weird arm tattoo. Not great, but not that bad. Making her dance naked in front of everyone for every single night and giving her all kinds of drugs without her consent. And being touchy and weird. Not cool. Not cool. I don't know how many more times I can say it. Probably saying it too much. Let's stop. The tattoo thing just happens. No, he specifically said it's because he likes it. It's not like... No, Patricia, no, he said a thing. When she asked, like, what's this or why did you do that or whatever, he was like, I like to leave a mark on my property. Or whatever. Like, Lucian didn't leave a weird tattoo mark when he healed her. Anyway, we're getting into fairy logic. Oh, but that's happens when you make a bargain. Yeah, okay, yes. My point is there didn't need to be a bargain. He could have just fixed it. And I know it's more complicated than that. I'm just cranky. Anyway. That's the end of the chapter. Make a tiny bargain. I don't know. Like I said, I'm cool with the tattoo. I'm fine. I just feel like we could have done less. Do less. do less crimes. Be kind. Do less crimes today. Perhaps. Less assault. If your plan involves, like, if it requires some amount of deceit and some pain inflicted, try to do the minimal amount of damage and not just like a lot. not just all of it. All of it for a very long amount of time. Like, just don't do all of it. Maybe. He did stop. He stopped short of being the absolute worst monster you can be. And that's still not cool. So, that's where we are. Do less today. That's for a t-shirt. There you go. Ah, boy. Oh, boy. So that's it for tonight. Especially since he basically admitted he'd be worse if not for not wanting to be murdered by Tam. Yeah, like he just like he just let it all show. He's just like, yeah, I totally would like definitely be the worst creepist. Absolutely. Because he doesn't give a shit. It's like, oh, you know that thing that's being done to me? I could just do that to you. What? Excuse me? Get out of here. Go away, dude. Don't like you. No. No, 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 no. Okay. So still angry. There was still some dramatic shit in there, but it was not as bad as last week. I think maybe because we had the primer of last week. Last time. I'm gonna say last week all the time. I'm gonna try to not do it, but I do it all the time. We had that last time to just sort of like set it up. So that this time it was like less. We're becoming used to it. But this is your regular reminder that we don't forgive acts like this. Pity? Yes. Forgiveness? No. I don't have it. I don't have it in my heart. No forgiveness for Assange. Cancelled. Cancelled. You want to talk about cancel culture? I'll tell you about it. I'll cancel you. I love all of you very much. Thank you for hanging out. So yeah, we're off Saturday, but we'll be back on Sunday at 3 with what could be the end of this book. We could be done next week. And then we need to decide, are we reading the next book? We got through this one pretty quick, so probably we will read the next book unless somebody's got like, we need to read this thing instead, and then you can like attack me with it and I'll talk about it. Oh, I promise you that I will be like all about the Batman when I come back on Sunday. I'm very excited about this, so I will tell you all about that on Sunday. For now, you all have a good night. Yeah, I'll see you on the weekend. Bye.
Are taking 3 hours second. We are now we're gonna get the temperature here. Yes, from Raiders. Everybody. Would you have number 2 right now? We are sourcing different things. We have another sales each for cash. And this is our very good. And then this one are like our one. And I'm gonna do like a little bit of even on it. I need to have this be right. It's not really freaking out right here. Wow, the real short. So. I've got a very occasional remote. Yeah. These one is very cool. We're talking about Oh, I could. Yeah, if you give me yeah, give me the map and figure out the map and can copy the map onto the thing and then I can water it. Totally. You also don't need to pay me. I'm your wife. You can pay me with gifts and love. Deal. Everybody give it away. My wife is in the chat. So while we're waiting for this to dry a little bit, go ahead and go Sharpie, which I think is going to be the next step. Actually very dry, very great. If you're just coming in, my name is Esther. I am a light producer, host, and burlesque performer based out of New York City. White privilege. Yeah, Loretta, I really like. I'm gonna give it. I think you really like the Civitas, Cetacea. I don't know how to say. Very studio Ghibli because it's like you're on a floating whale in the sky, not a city, on a whale that flies through the sky. It's very, and it's gonna be 12-hour difference. So it's a tricky thing. It's to be like it has 8 a.m. in the morning while we play. We could figure probably. So hello. I'm a producer, perform based in New York City, and sometimes down in Philadelphia. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedules. Mondays have queer content, either the queer or the par. We often do two tops a month. Monday nights, one by GM. Wednesdays are retro or horror themes. That's kind of like a smart horror one, which is why we're doing a spooky one over. And Fridays are JRPG drinks, where I ones, and then every Tuesday a month I do my Queer Jack Party charity. Will be coming up at the end of March, doing another one, which the rest put on. That's me. Hello. Welcome. Okay, so this is almost, or it's getting high. So I think I grabbed my Sharpie. I'm just gonna have the lo-fi for a second, and I'm going to grab my Sharpie. Going to dump water. Yeah, the Jackbox really fun. I'm gonna get my water because water all color. I need to do a cleaner water for paint. Yeah, but I'm just gonna be right. I'm gonna leave this here, and I'm gonna lo-fi a little. Caught you. Were you gonna try to bring up a picture of the whale? Do it if take your time. Do it. Bring Because I'm just gonna be sharp here, so I'm not gonna. Yeah, because I think this is pretty good. Like I said, once I add the star, this feels okay. Cool. Let's sharpie in. I like. I should have bring up. Sorry, stood up too early. I get Bulbasaur. I did on the front of these. Caught it on boards here. The Bulbasaur first one of these. What I did was I did it in pencil, colored it, and then the back was sharp. I forgot how cute this is. I should do another Bulbasaur. I should just do watercolor because this is so freaking cute. I love this little plant. He's so cute. Look at him. This is so great. Anyway, so yeah. So to go in the Sharpie and just draw in the crisp lines. So that's what we know. I just feel like the Sharpie just tightens up a little bit. A little bit crisp. Right, I don't know. I'm a person like almost all of my tattoos have the black. I have a strong black outline. Just black, white, black. I just like a strong outline. That's Yanni books. I like. Okay, there we go. So there's right. I just think that looks so sharp. Some cats here. Makes it because watercolor can be a bit unforgiving sometimes. Like bleeding in and that it does a chance to look back and read your lines that may have gotten a little wishy-washy. You're gonna be speaking out the quote in this banner. We'll figure it out. Go. Look at little art, looking sharp. should do a studio. Probably Ghibli. I think most people Ghibli. I should do one of the colors next.